Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is also my first time in Helsinki, and I am really happy and glad to be here. I will speak a little bit before talking about this subject about my studies or interest in youth studies. I think you all know these 2 days about the SAHWA project, and you have a lot of information and data on the website. So I am the fieldwork ethnography coordinator of SAHWA project in Morocco. I am also part of 2 ongoing research projects. One is called Spaces of Participation, Topographies of Political and Social Change. It is concerning about Morocco, Egypt, and Palestine. And another one with also militantism and social and political participation with Spain and Spain colleagues mainly. And in this last one, I am mainly interested in the women and politics at the local level in Morocco, especially in rural areas in Morocco. So just to give you an idea about my research, my ongoing project research. Well, before speaking about employment and unemployment in Morocco, I would say some few words about what is youth, what does it mean? In Morocco, youth has been constructed in an official rhetoric. In 1990s, mainly, youth emerged as a priority of in the political agenda of many actors. We had also the creation of a National Council of Youth and the Future, mainly in this perspective of making youth a priority. Also, the perception about youth becoming as agents of change in Morocco, as an opportunity of value for future of the country. This was a shift from the perspective of seeing youth as victims to seeing them as actors. We also had in Morocco some studies, not a lot, but some studies about youth, and there is some difference between geographers, for instance, who always think of youth as in terms of age groups mainly. So we cannot really define who youth are on this group ages. Anthropologists in other side are combining group ages with qualitative criteria, mainly insisting on the progressive entry into adult life, marriage, getting job, and getting also independent housing. In other side, the public policies are also using only the criterion of age to labeling who are young people who can benefit from the policies the Ministry of Youth and Sport has to give, for instance, who will benefit from camping sites on holidays, children, adolescent or young people. For each policy we had a specific age. It's also the same promoting credit for entrepreneurship. You have a specific age, etc. So this doesn't take into account the complex reality of youth, because youth are not an homogeneous group. There is a lot of differentiation between rural and urban areas, between social classes, between gender gap, etc., etc. The state conception of youth during these days, before 2011, was between 2 hesitant and contradictory tendencies. It's we need to protect youth, young people, by, for instance, fixing the age of work at 15. It was before 12. And in other side, we want to promote youth participation by decreasing the age of voting from 20 to 18. So we were on these two kind of perceptions, and also this idea of how to encourage, how to promote youth participation, but at the other, in the reality, young people don't have really the economical autonomy and social skills to do this participation. On theoretical part, there was also a big discussion about what is to be young. Shall we only have those objective criteria, saying the age or other criteria, or shall we just focus on what young people say? If they proclaim, they define themselves as young, shall we take it just for granted and construct things from that? Yeah. This is these pictures about demonstrations of graduate students in Morocco. Those kind of social movements were really occurring in Morocco before 2011. It's not something brought by what we call Arab Spring. It was really also very current before. But what was interesting in 2011 is that Morocco got a new constitution, reformed constitution, and we also again focus on youth as priority, and also we got this young people were able to have a place to participate in parliament, for instance, because of a system of quota. We had 30 seats for young people in the parliament. And there was also the law project to establish a consultative council of youth and associative action. This was the main two reforms regarding youth in this new constitution. And also there is this idea of trying to coordinate all policies about youth in one national strategy, and there is a lot of debates about that and how we are going to invite young people themselves to participate in such initiatives. Okay, so in SAHWA project, as I was speaking this morning in this session about political engagement, our team chose to work mainly on the entry to work, the employment, those young people who are trying to find a way, despite all these structural, economic, political, social difficulties. And we were saying, let's see what's happening and what are those strategies that young people are trying to use in order to get through despite all these difficulties. Because we consider that youth are important to the economy, not only as consumers, but also as workers, as entrepreneurs, as producers, also innovators. And they are using strategies, practices, in order to escape marginality and transform their lives and environment. The methodology that we used are mainly this basic differentiation between structure and agency, using narrative in-depth interviews, observations, focus groups, life stories. As I said, all these methodologies, you can find them on the website. We also take into account the gender, rural-urban dimensions, and because we had also to do this quantitative part of the project, we needed to, in order to compare between those countries, to take one definition based on age, even though we were not all agree on that, from 15 to 25 years old. Okay, now I will introduce some macro indicators regarding employment and unemployment in Morocco. This is giving you the unemployment rate in Morocco, which remains very high, and the government and the social movements are really struggling with this, mainly also growing youth unemployment. So the access of job market is a challenge for Moroccan youth. Graduates, one from public, but also recently, like in 2 or 3, 5 years, also the graduates from private schools, higher schools, also are suffering from this problem. The high level of youth unemployment is due to many factors. We talk about demographic transition, economical difficulties, and mainly the educational failure of the education system in Morocco. So, what is the solution? What are the strategies? What do young people do in order to face these difficulties? I will mainly present you 2 kinds of responses. The first one is on entrepreneurship, because it was really interesting in Morocco how entrepreneurship was like the magical solution for unemployment in Morocco, and how also young people perceive this entrepreneurship. And the second example, I will present you informal jobs, informal economy, because also it's a big issue, and there is a lot of debates in Morocco. I could also speak about other responses like migration, but we didn't really focus on that in our research, and also because the perceptions about migration, about Europe fortress after 2008, etc., were young people are less willing to migrate to Europe, for instance. So, for our field work about these 2 responses, entrepreneurship and the informal economy, we mainly did 3 case studies. One on entrepreneurship in Rabat and Casablanca, mainly formal entrepreneurship, and then 2 case studies about informal. One in Rabat about this marketplace, an informal marketplace in Rabat with merchant of cultural goods, and in rural area with young people, men and women, working mainly in agriculture. The first case about entrepreneurship was led by 2 of my colleagues, Caroline and Hamad. So there is some statistics about the creation of firms in Morocco, but like in 2015, we had like 36,000 of firms who were created in 1 year. Half of them were limited company with one sole partner, but they were just located and situated in the metropole of Casablanca and not in the whole territory of Morocco. There was also, as I said, because entrepreneurship was mainly perceived as a magical solution, so from the public policies there were many programs to promote entrepreneurship. So I will speak about those programs. The first one, is 1987. There is 17 missing program. It is the first program, and this is the first time the Moroccan state was thinking about how to support young entrepreneurs to create their firms. This first program contributed to the creation of like 2,000 firms and find jobs, 13,000 jobs for young people. But this was far away from the objective of the program at the beginning. The program was too ambitious at the beginning, but it was not. They didn't reach their goals. The second program was really famous in Morocco, Informality. It means in Arabic like my firm. Launched in 2006. First, it was dedicated to high school graduates, but afterwards they spread it to other categories, mainly just people who had primary education. And also the age, you see, it was between 50 and 45 years old. It was interesting because it gives facilities, to mainly administrative facilities to create the firm, but also it helps in accessing to credit. Here also the initial goal was the creation of 13,000 firms between 2007 and 2010, but actually they, like the first one, they didn't succeed to reach this goal. The last one was the objective was from the state to create like a status of auto-entrepreneur. They target only individuals, not only young people, etc. So the idea was the same: how to facilitate the creation of new ventures. Yeah, they are supposing that people are able to give this turnover like 100,000 dirhams, but it was really high for young people to find those fundings to start their new ventures. So it was also ambitious, but in the reality difficult to implement. So this was these three programs in a way failed to be implemented in the reality because also the causes are also linked to education. Young people that we interviewed, but also stakeholders, are aware that we need to link education with this entrepreneurship. You can't have an entrepreneurship status if you don't link it to trainings, and this is what we come up with focus groups with stakeholders and also nascent entrepreneurs, that we need an entrepreneurial culture. And this couldn't come if we didn't reform our educational system. Here are some narratives from stakeholders we get, like the first one: the Moroccan educative system doesn't prepare young in taking risks and developing an entrepreneurship activity. Because also this idea of memorizing things and not developing critical thinking, and also the problem of communication. Yeah, you may find a young girl or man, they have a great idea, but they don't have the skills to communicate their projects. So this is from the last one. Many entrepreneurs I saw have important difficulties to present their projects to audiences. Also, they don't feel confident and at ease when they must communicate their ideas. They have too much difficulties to speak without holding their nerves. This is linked to what we were saying also yesterday about language issue in Morocco, because they need French and English in order to promote their projects. So those kind of lacks should be reinforced in the educational system in Morocco. This was linked to how we can create a culture of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship, as Schumpeter defines it, it's taking risk in an uncertain environment, and this uncertainty is really the characteristic of youth passing from childhood to adulthood. So this is really an issue. The second problem regarding entrepreneurship is the lack of coordination between the institutions and different actors acting in the promotion of entrepreneurship in Morocco. So you got a lot of actors now, as I said, because everyone wants to say that this is a solution for this problem: government, NGOs, local, but also international, private sector, etc., etc. So we need, each one are working in their sides alone, so they need to collaborate, to cooperate in order to end up setting one strategy. we got this narrative from Abel Kbir, from a focus group we held in Rabat. There are a lot of lies in the promotion of entrepreneurship. Administrative steps are much easier than before, but finding financing to start with remains a nightmare mainly for young people who don't have family support, etc. So there is another dimension those young entrepreneurs made was about taking risks and uncertainty, etc. So when a young man or women in Morocco want to start a firm, to create a firm, they got many resistances. Coming first from family, because family, for them, when you want to create a firm, it's not really certain. You need to have a job, mainly on the public sector, to be like a guarantee. So leaving a salary-based job was considered as a financial suicide in Morocco. This is one of our participants in the focus groups. So they really needed many negotiations with family in order to convince them that establishing a firm could be an opportunity and an alternative. What the result about this idea of how they deal with uncertainty and how they deal with convincing their environment says something about that young Moroccans face uncertainty collectively rather than individually. They also say something about their identity, because they feel themselves like really different from other members of other Moroccan youth. Some of them say it is because we do not have the same activities as people at our age. We do not hang out, stay up late for nothing, and think about next holidays, because they are always working, improving their projects. They also aware that they want to be actor of what's happening in Morocco. They want to change things in their environment. One of them saying, I'm trying to convince colleagues at university that they should get out of their comfort zones. I understood that I could be a change initiator. This is some narratives from them. As I said, if they feel different from other Moroccans, they feel similar to other entrepreneurs everywhere in the world, because they are acting the same, they listen to the same music, doing the same things, engaging in the same networks, using social media, etc. So there is this two kind of identities. We are different from other Moroccans, but we are similar to other entrepreneurs. Okay, so this was the first response about entrepreneurship as a response to unemployment in Morocco. The second one, as I said, was it was about informality and how informality could be a response to unemployment. The first case studies has been done with the risk seekers, who mainly focused on space. Marketplace in Rabat. It's an informal marketplace. And his objective is to study how informal economy is a determinant factor for youth employment and self-entrepreneurship. He wanted to understand better what informality is and how it is linked to culture and also globalization. This is a picture just to give you an idea of this kind of marketplace. If you ask a tourist in Rabat, he will say that this is you can find traditional things. It's a market of traditional crafts, but it is also a market of new technologies. It's really a hub of condensed and concentrated of new technologies that you can find in this place. It is also very interesting because it's connecting all the Medina and the modern city. Here also, I will also speak about young and how they perceive this as merchants in this place, but also as consumers of this culture. In this report, Dries said that the special centrality of the place confronted to the social and economic marginality of these actors and diversity, how they use these offers coming from the place, are really saying something about what is to be economical underground in Morocco. Some statistics about informality. An average of 14,000 informal units are created per year. This is something also challenging our way of analyzing what is informality, because we can, if we just study it in a normative economic way, we should say this is not good, this is bad. We should transform them to formal entities, etc. But the state doesn't have means to do that. And also it is, as I said, an opportunity for those young women to find solutions to unemployment. So what is informal in that case? We have to deconstruct our first definitions about what informal must be. So the first idea is informal is not abnormal. Okay. Because even for formal companies and administrations have also using their informal transactions, etc. We are also a way for defining informal economy as out of laws, rules or ethics of formal economy. Informal economy is not black one, but it's like between a gray area between black and white. We have to nuance these dimensions. And informal marketplace entails a broad spectrum of actors, of varied investments, incomes, capitals, etc. So just to say this is too complex, to say just informal is one thing. No, it's really too complex, and we need to deconstruct all these cliches, mainly from the normative perspective of what informal or formal should be. Why people go informal? Mainly young people, because we talked about the failure of education system. So that's why people prefer to invest in the informal economy. I have here one economist saying that it is not sure whether they have or not access to bank loans. Because the first idea is the failure of education. The second, why they go informal, because they don't have enough funds to do formal creation of companies. So he arguing that it is not sure whether they have or not access to bank loans, if they would like to have it or not. There could be another explanation, more cultural, of youth who prefer to work in underground economy. Some would say, I have no capital, but I have a skill, or I don't trust Moroccan management model style. This would mean then that it is rather the lack of trust on management practices and not weak access to banking that may explain youth working massively in underground economy. This is mainly true for job providers in this economy who prefer to employ relatives and family members, again, for more confidence. So this is another explanation of how, why young people choose to do this informal work. From this field work, as I said, educational system was not working. So young people are saying that they are learning skills, new skills in that place. For Salim, for instance, he said that he learned a lot of things on this place. And he said how they meet with the band of music, and he learned skills from them, and he wanted to join them. I first met these guys in Agadir. They live in Saleh. They speak French and mixed languages. I like this. And he also added, I learned from this, and he wanted to be a part of this band. And he also said about this idea of the failure of educational system, that he said the school, even if my results are good, would lead me nowhere. Because in his perception, even those who got a diploma from universities are jobless. So he said, better to work here, to learn some skills so that he can earn his living and also gain more new skills. Here again, there was this kind of discussion because we also did focus groups with stakeholders and the people of the place. So from economists mainly, there is this two narrative, what is informal economy, or the relevance of informal economy. Raja Majati, for instance, said that underground economy produces geniuses but not engineers. They may have technical know-how, but not the capacity of perfect designers or appliers. We should be careful not to overestimate the capacity of those workers in an underground to find innovative solutions. Okay. She tried to say that, okay, this is like a hub for new technologies. They actually learn new skills, but this can't replace school because what they are learning are not so innovative, etc. And there is another economist, Professor Jalal, who said the big difference with other countries is that these geniuses in mobile phone, software, and satellite technologies in the underground sphere are not polished by training. They rely totally on themselves. So there is these two different perceptions of the relevance of this kind of learning in informal economy. Before passing to the last one, I also wanted to say something about this place and this kind of using informality by young people here in that space. It remains, although they are learning things, although they are finding solutions, they are earning their lives, etc. But it remains that it is precarious, uncertain situation, even though it's dynamic. I can also read it as like liminal space, because they are cut between what we were saying about formal, informal, legal, and illegal. So they might be really marginal actors, but I think also that they are fighting individually. They are not seeing themselves as a community in order to establish a collective action or something like that. So it's like each one is facing their challenges alone. Okay, so they are fighting individually and not a collective community. The last case study, I did the field work with my colleague Lisa, and we were working, as I said, in a rural area with men and young men and women working on agriculture in one region in Morocco called Sais. Our aim is to describe and analyze here also the informal labor economy in the agricultural sector in this place, because we were amazed about the visibility of women in this work, because this was not the case before. So they really emerge as visible working in this agriculture. Like the informal Bab al-Had in Rabat, those workers also are not declared. They don't have any social security in their majority. There was different gender socio-cultural values in this region also regarding the participation of women. Mainly, I will speak about this also. Here is, I wanted to show this. I also had a picture, but I couldn't find it in my laptop. It's a picture of a veil. Those women who are working on agriculture, they put in a veil. They say to protect their skin and their faces of dust, of all these things while working, but it is also a symbol because the working of women in these places are not valued. So it's like a protection, social protection from others. The profile of the people, young men and women working in this area, they mainly have low-level education. Most of them quit school at an early age. And women, for them, I think they were never went to school for them. As the first, the Rabat case study, those also, they didn't learn something. They learned by doing. They learned these skills by in their experiences. Their first day, they pretend to know, because we did a lot of interviewing, life stories with them. So they said, okay, the first time I went to find this work, first they used their networks, family members or friends. So they go in group. And when the boss came to pick them up in the place to work, they said, yes, we know how to do. But actually they just pretend in order to be in order to get the job. But they know, they do. They learn by doing, starting by easy things and then moving to complicated tasks. They also have no land because they come in from poor families and they're working on the lands of others. Some of them have little parcels of land, but it's not enough. Now, why they work on agriculture? For women, it's they say the first statement they come up with: we work to help our families. So this is like altruistic objective. But then when you go further with them explaining things, etc., they said, okay, we also need money for ourselves, as to, I don't know, to buy a perfume, to buy things, women's stuff, etc. So there is altruistic and more individualistic reasons why they want to work. Most of them also started working very early. Some of them at the age of 10. For women, the first job is always difficult. And we got some narratives from them saying that the first day they had to hide it for their parents, mainly the father. They said, we keep it secret like for 1 week, and then he discovered that she was going to work in that firm, etc. So they had to negotiate here also in order to convince the father that they want to work. There is this profile of the mother who is facilitating this accessibility of women, of girls to work, because they said we need more money. The money that the father brings is not enough. So the mother encouraged the girl in order to have this job. We were also very interested on how those women and men define themselves. Do you consider yourselves as young people? So they mainly said, yeah, sometimes we feel young, but with the hardness of the work, we feel old. So this is also kind of how to nuance our definitions. I will maybe just say some few words to finish. we also were interested on what is work for those men and women working in agriculture. What does it mean, the work? So mainly for women, it's a momentary period because it's not valued as a work. Working in agriculture is just because they have to. They don't have other alternatives. It's not like men. And they also don't have, like, unlike men, they don't have the promise to have a promotion in this job, because young men they could start just simple workers, but they could become like a chief in one firm or ordering the other workers. Women can't do this, so that's why maybe women are not really keen to continue on this work. For them, it's okay for now, but it's momentary. And also, there's also this idea of we are working until we got married. So here, and there is other research studies in Morocco coming up with the same endings, is that for women coming from these low social classes with the low level of education, the work is not valued as emancipatory thing. It's just momentary because it's not also socially valued as something positive. So we do it until we find a husband, etc., etc. Yeah. So thank you.